Hello, everybody. Good evening, one and all. Carson Meredith with you on this Saturday night. Thanks for stopping by. Is there something happening in the sky the last couple of nights? I haven't heard about it. Have you? That was a joke. Man, what a show it was last night, huh? Tell you what, I never thought I'd see photos of the Northern Lights as vibrant as what we saw in Wave Country last night. And there's a chance, it's not a guarantee, all right, but there's a chance we could have that same vibrant view yet again tonight. How about that? So if you missed it last night like I did, because I was asleep, because I had to be working in the morning, maybe check out the sky this evening. That is what we are going to talk about first tonight, and then we'll look ahead to a gorgeous Mother's Day Sunday. I mean, just absolutely perfect tomorrow. But all good things must come to an end. We've got some storms on the way for next week. We're starting to narrow down the timing of when we'll see the most rain and the most storms. And we'll kind of walk you through that thought process here shortly. But let's start things off tonight, shall we? With a live view from Simpsonville. Shout out to anybody who's watching in Shelby County. Hope all is well this evening. Blue sky, wherever you look. We hit 75 today in Louisville. Gorgeous day. A few of those puffy cumulus clouds were around. But now that the sun is starting to set, we're losing that heat of the day. Those clouds are dissipating, which, my friends, is a very good thing for what could be round 2 of the Aurora later on tonight. Let's jump into the comments. Let's see. Charles says, hello to everybody. Will we see the Northern Lights tonight? That, of course, the $1 million question Scott on YouTube asked. And there's a decent chance some of us will see those Northern Lights again later on tonight. Shonda always watching in Jeffersonville. Happy Saturday evening to you, Weather Geek. Hope all is well. Looks like the calmer, severe weather pattern is here, Brandon says. Best sleep I've gotten in weeks. Yeah, you and everybody here on the Wave Weather team, Brandon, that is for sure. Yes, we've got storm chances on the way next week, but none of them scream severe weather at this point. And I think we can all be thankful for that, right? Let's see. Angela says, good evening. DJ King says, good evening from North Vernon, Indiana. Freddie, hey, Freddie. Hope all's well, man. Lisa says, good evening. Shonda says she saw a little bit of those Northern Lights last night. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to be outside of the city to get the full effect of the Northern Lights, right? Because all the street lights and the building lights and whatnot kind of pollute the view. You have to be as dark as possible with your surroundings, get a really vibrant view of that aurora, especially this far south, right? Let's see. Amanda says, wonderful weather today in Bardstown. Yeah, sure was. Everybody in Wave Country. Gorgeous day, and we'll get to do it again tomorrow. Looking forward to that, right? Kathy says, hello. What chance do I have to see the aurora tonight from the Blue Ridge Parkway in Carolina? At least I assume we're talking about the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina. If we're talking about the Bluegrass Parkway, there's a chance. I will say it's kind of retreated a little bit further north, that potential tonight, but it's still there. For the Blue Ridge Parkway out in the Carolinas, decent chance. Might be more on the horizon instead. Best time, Scott's asked. We're going to talk about that in a second. Oh, wow. Angela saw the Northern Lights when she was stationed in Iceland. Colors swirled in the sky. Yeah, kind of that curtain effect. It comes in waves, that aurora does. So definitely a gorgeous sight to see. Will we see them again tonight, Amber asked? There's a chance. Glenda says, hope I get to see it tonight. Fell asleep early last night. So did I. So did I. All right, more comments coming up. Let's get going with that forecast. It was beautiful today. We've talked about it already, right? 73 is our current temperature here in Louisville. If we had to complain about one little thing, it was the wind. I know, not a good hair day. I get it. Had some gust, close to 30 miles per hour, actually, earlier today. Still kind of breezy now. Northwest wind at 17 with gust up to 26 miles per hour. So still breezy out there, but I do expect that wind to subside a little bit overnight tonight and definitely during the day tomorrow. A few Kentucky Mesonet cameras showing that clear blue sky. as the sun is going down. You're looking for a good spot to see the northern lights tonight. You want some sort of area that looks like these mesonet cameras, okay? Kind of out there by themselves, away from all the lights of the cities. So you want to have that horizon as dark as possible. And another thing is on your phone, okay, or whatever camera you might have, do long exposure. You may not be able to see it with your own two eyes, but if you use that long exposure camera, you're going to get a really beautiful view of that aurora if it gets to your location. And that's what we're going to talk about here in just a moment. For tonight, temperature-wise, it's going to be cool. If you're going to be aurora chasing this evening, grab the jackets. Once the sun is totally down, those temperatures are going to drop rather quickly. We'll bottom out near 50 here in town, but excuse me, outside of Louisville, a lot of us are going to be in the 40s Sunday morning. So if you have any early Mother's Day plans tomorrow, jackets are strongly recommended. Now, the great thing that's working for us tonight is the clear sky. That is huge, right? That means if we do see the aurora come down to wave country this evening, we're going to get an unobstructed view. That G5 geomagnetic storm continues. So just being totally honest with you here, I am no expert when it comes to this stuff. Trust me, I kind of had to learn some of these numbers on the fly yesterday when this first started becoming a thing. But the scale goes from G0, I think, to G5. G5 is as high as it can go. And it is very rare to see a G5 geomagnetic storm. That's the extreme type of solar storm. And we haven't seen one since 2003. I was a little guy back then. I don't want to age myself. But anyway. So what that means is the aurora will be able to come further south because that solar storm is so incredibly intense. Basically, you got these little flares that come off the sun, if you will, and the magnetic field of the earth kind of brings it closer to the earth, if that makes sense at all. That's kind of a layman's explanation for what typically happens in this setup. But there's your forecast for tonight, okay? Soak it in. In fact, let me take the graphic full here so you can really process it. Best viewing tonight will actually start maybe in an hour or so, closer to 9 o'clock, once the sun is totally down, all right? So even if there's a little sunlight still on the horizon, you're not going to see anything, okay? So you really want to wait until it is totally pitch black outside. I'm just saying 9 o'clock, so you kind of have a little buffer, maybe to stake out where you want to go or where you want to drive to get away from the city lights, all right? Best viewing from 9 o'clock tonight until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, the tiny change we had with our viewing forecast for tonight is that best chance zone you see. It moved just a smidge to the north. We're talking 50 to 100 miles, not a lot. So the best chance zone is basically going to be along and north of the Ohio River. So southern Indiana, go find your spot. You got a better shot than our friends in the bluegrass to see this tonight. Now, if you're down towards E-Town, Bardstown, Litchfield, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Columbia, you can still see the aurora tonight. It just may not be quite as vibrant as what we saw last night. It's still going to be very noticeable if it does come to fruition, but it may not be quite as bright or as intense as what we saw last night. Technically, we're still in that G5 zone for that solar storm, but maybe just a smid, like on the lower end of that G5, if that makes sense. So last night we were a little higher up in that G5 zone. Tonight, we're a little lower. So that's why we've kind of adjusted that best chance area a little further north, closer to the Ohio River. But everybody in wave country still got a shot to see the aurora tonight. And this is the last night of this, okay? We're probably not going to see it tomorrow night because the solar storm is winding down tomorrow night, but also the clouds will be moving back in. So tonight is it. This is your last chance. Take advantage of it if you so possibly can. While we got the graphic up, let's look at the comments here. Amber's asking about Southern Indiana. Like we talked about, Southern Indiana is probably the best zone in wave country to see this tonight. Let's see. Eli's asking about Crestwood on YouTube. There's a chance to see the Aurora tonight in Crestwood. Oldham County is getting more and more populated, but there's still some good spots out there where you can get away from those city lights. So get away from Crestwood, Buckner, LaGrange, get somewhere out in the county where you can get that darker view of the horizon. That's going to be your best chance to see this with your naked eye, but also that long form, that long exposure camera shot too. That's a good question. Connie's asking about Bullitt County. Same general idea. Try to get out of Shepherdsville or Lebanon Junction, get away from those city lights, and get somewhere out in the county where it's a little bit darker, all right? Along and north of the Ohio River looks like the hot zone tonight. And I'm going to show a few photos here from last night in a second. Guys, we've gotten thousands of photos from you all. It feels like thousands. I don't have an exact count. And the photos were unreal. I could only pick a handful to show you. But if you do see the Aurora tonight, send those photos to us again. It was fantastic looking at them all last night. We want to see them again. Make it easier for us, though, okay? Go to the Wave Weather app on your phone, and towards the bottom, I believe, there's an option where you can submit your photos. When you do that and you submit the photo through the app, that saves us some trouble as far as getting approval from you that we can show your photo on TV. It saves a step, all right? So if you have photos of the Aurora tonight, if you see it, send your photos through the Wave Weather app. It'll make things a lot easier. And then we'll share them on our social pages and maybe on our newscast at 11 tonight, depending on how many photos we get. Let's see more comments here. And I'll keep the graphic up here a little while longer in case you need to process it or if people are just tuning in. Let's see. Angela says, my sister and her family are in southern Mississippi. They had quite the show last night down in Pensacola, too. That's the thing with this solar storm is the northern lights got as far south as Florida. Crazy. That's incredibly rare to see. But it was quite the view across much of the country, that is for sure. Joanna says, where in southern Indiana should we head to? What's a good place? Great question. I'm not going to say a specific, spot in southern Indiana. It's not like the eclipse where it was just that one little totality zone, right? It's going to be in much more widespread areas. So my best suggestion, Joanna, is to just get somewhere away from cities. Get somewhere where, honestly, it is pitch black. All right? The only lights you have are the headlights as you're driving down the road. Get somewhere where it is totally dark. Just settle in and see what happens. So no specific locations. Just get away from those city lights, and you'll be just fine. Predicted times tonight, Bill asks, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's the main zone. Now, could we still see the Aurora after 1 o'clock in the morning? Yes, we certainly could. But looking at the forecast from the Space Weather Prediction Center, it looks as though the peak is in that 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. time frame. And after that point, it kind of backs off just a little bit. So the earlier this evening, the better it looks like for viewing. Let's see. May's asking about Louisville. Same general timing. It's harder in Louisville because of all the lights, right? I'm trying to think if there's any good spots in Jefferson County that aren't polluted with street lights and city lights. If anybody has any ideas, send them in the comments section. But you probably honestly want to get toward Oldham or Shelby County, or maybe Bullitt County. Any of the surrounding counties from the metro, probably a better spot than in Louisville itself because of all the lights, the street lights and whatnot. Let's see. A lot of folks asking about their particular towns, and please understand, I'm not trying to ignore you at all, but I don't want to get too repetitive here going town by town by town. But if you live from Louisville up to Southern Indiana, you've got the best chance to see this tonight. If you're down towards Central Kentucky, so if you're in E-Town, if you're in Greene County, Taylor, Marion, Grayson, Breckenridge, you can still see this tonight. It just may not be quite as intense as what we saw last night. That's kind of the too long didn't read version of what we can expect tonight. Ashley's asking about how do you set them up on your phone. That, it depends on your phone, to be honest with you. I think night mode is the way to go usually. But it depends on your phone. So, excuse me. So yeah, definitely. I think night mode is the way to go, obviously. Beyond that, I really couldn't tell you much. But if anybody has any suggestions in the comments, just send them in there. That's a good question to answer. Let's see here. Rusty says, I'll be driving a friend to Indy around 3 o'clock in the morning. Will it still be possible to see them on the way up? Yes, Rusty, it's possible. It may not be at its most intense peak at 3 o'clock in the morning. It'll likely be past the peak, but we're not going to rule it out, especially up closer to Indianapolis, past 3 o'clock in the morning. Jamie's saying, is the G5 still in effect? It is indeed. It's down to a G3 tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying, all right, guys, this is probably it. You know, we got clouds moving back in tomorrow night, and the G3 means it's not going to come this far south tomorrow night. So this is probably your last chance for goodness knows how long to see this. So take advantage of it if at all possible. Amanda says, I heard the timing has moved forward to 5 a.m. for Southern Indiana. Is that still accurate? Well, you could still see it at 5 o'clock in the morning, Amanda. That's for sure, yes. But the peak is earlier in the night. 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. is what it looks like just looking at the forecast. So the earlier in the night, the better if you're trying to get those more intense colors. Later in the night, closer to sunrise, it's not going to be quite as easy to see. Hope that makes sense. Jamie asked once again, do they know how many more days this will last? It looks like tonight's the last big night for this. So tomorrow night, there might be a little bit way up north. We're talking our friends to the north up in Canada might see it again tomorrow night. But here in the U.S., this is our last good shot to see it. So that is where we stand for the Aurora Part 2 that might be on the way later on tonight. Let's see. Travis says, adjust your settings. If you got an iPhone Pro, turn on ProRes. There you go. See, I don't have an iPhone. I'm an Android guy. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I just don't like iPhones. Not my thing. All right. Here's a good question from Sylvia on YouTube. Which is better to drive to, Simpsonville or Memphis, Indiana? Memphis, 100%. Memphis is the way to go. It'll definitely be a little more vibrant up there if we see it tonight. But in fairness, we thought there was going to be a low chance of seeing it last night, and look what happened, right? So we'll keep the chance there. But Sylvia, definitely go towards Memphis, Indiana tonight over Simpsonville. Definitely a better shot up in Southern Indiana. All right, everybody good? So 9 p.m., 1 a.m., main window. for Aurora Part 2 later on tonight. Here's some photos we got from last night. And again, we thank you guys for sending in all the photos. There was tons, thousands. I come into work this morning. It's like, holy smokes. I'm going to spend the whole morning trying to sift through all these photos. So I could only pick 3. I wish I could show every last one of them. These are just a few that stuck out to me. Sue sent this one from Eastview in Hardin County. Just absolutely gorgeous. The reds and the greens and the purples. And we usually don't see the greens and the purples around here because those are lower in the horizon. And because we very rarely see the aurora as it is around here, it's usually just way beyond the horizon. We only see that reddish color when this usually happens. But because it was so far to the south, this type of route, we got all the colors in the mix, and that made for just a stunning view. Mary sent this photo in on the Wave Weather app. Remember, send your photos on the app. This is from Sulphur in Crawford County. Look at that. Man. Dorothy sent this one in from Rough River Lake. Gosh, I love the reflection of the lake with the lights. You kind of see that pillar effect too. So, and again, I don't claim to be an expert on this kind of stuff, but sometimes you get these curtains of color where they just kind of wave through the sky, if you will, and then you have these pillars that just go straight up and down and up and down and up and down. And I mean, no matter what it looks like, it's still gorgeous, right? So it was stunning last night. Hope everybody enjoyed it. If you didn't get to see it last night, this is your last chance later on this evening. Let's see. Kayla says, where should we go if we're in Corydon? Where do we need to drive to? Corydon, honestly, is a decent spot. You want to get away from town. Maybe go up towards Georgetown, Starlight. You get out there near Huber's. It's really dark out there, usually at night. That's a good spot. Obviously, you don't want to get on private property or things like that. But, Corydon's a decent spot, Kayla. But if you want to go, 20, 30 minutes north, that's not a bad idea if you want to get further away from civilization, if you will. So hope that answers your question there. Shonda says, truck stop is in Memphis. Yeah, there's a big Love's truck stop right there off 65 in Memphis. I think it was Sylvia that was asking about that earlier. Henryville Forestry, possibly. Go to the Knobs. Yeah, any of those options would be just fine. Will East Louisville see it? Courtney asked. There's a chance. There's a good chance. But again, you want to get really outside of Louisville because we got all the lights around Jefferson County, right? Because that's where a lot of us live. So the further out of the metro you can get, the better. And the further north you can get, the better for tonight. Let's see. Shonda says, I love that view from the lake. Isn't it stunning? Let me widen that out again. Look at that. Awesome. Just so cool. But again, if you have any photos tonight, if we're able to see this again, Wave Weather app, that is the surefire way that I will be able to see it. And then our web department and everybody will be able to see those photos later on tonight. Okay. So that way also you can get it automatically approved so that if we're able to put it on TV, we can. So Wave Weather app, way to go. So that was the view last night. There's a chance we might have it again. We'll see. But this is definitely the last night of this. So tomorrow night, it's not going to happen in all likelihood. So take advantage of it tonight. Who knows when we'll see this again? We haven't seen this since 2003 around here. And from what I've heard from everybody, it was not nearly as intense in 2003 as it was last night. So take advantage of it if you can. All right, let's talk more weather now, shall we? Tomorrow looks great. Make sure you have a jacket if you're heading out to brunch or church tomorrow morning with mom. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, including my own, who's probably watching this tonight. We'll be in the low 50s when you wake up Sunday morning. Could be in the 40s actually outside of town, but because of this drier air in place that's keeping us quiet, that drier, less humid air means it's quicker for those temperatures to fluctuate. It's easier for temperatures to climb, and it's easier for temperatures to tumble. So that's why we got a forecast high of 80 tomorrow. Just a beautiful day for whatever plans you might have with mom on Sunday. That's about it for tomorrow. Big weather headline, once we get past the Aurora, of course, is the stormy setup for next week. Now, you've heard me and everybody on the team say that this spring, and you think, oh, great. Here we go again with severe weather. But, my friends, we do not have to really worry about severe weather at this time. That could still change, of course. We all know that. But at least with the storm chances early this upcoming week, the severe ingredients just aren't there. But we could still get a good bit of rain. There's 2 days in particular that we're watching the closest, one of which is Tuesday, the other of which is Friday. Okay, let's go through Futurecast. Yes, Tuesday and Friday are the main days, but there's still some lower rain chances around for every other day. So this is Monday at 10 o'clock, and you kind of see this leading band of rain moving to the north and east as the low is still sitting out to our west. So we'll have a few showers moving in Monday afternoon, continuing into Monday evening. But as that low continues to push to the east and northeast, you see that rain becomes much, much more widespread. I'm not ready to call Tuesday a washout just yet, but we're teetering on that line, okay? Tuesday, definitely the wettest day of the entire week next week. Rain likely, maybe a few storms, but the severe weather is just not there. I can handle plain old storms all day as long as they're not severe, right? That looks to be the case on Tuesday. Wednesday, that will come down to how quickly we can get this low out of here. It seems to be a slow-moving low as it pushes to the east. So if it's slow-moving, we're going to keep those showers and storms around early on Wednesday, especially across Kentucky. If it's quicker moving, we may be able to dry things out later in the day on Wednesday. We'll keep an eye on that. Still got to work on that timing. Thursday looks good. I kept a 20% chance for showers in there just in case, but we'll probably be able to take that out should this forecast hold. So Thursday looks pretty good. In fact, I'd say Thursday is probably the nicest day of the work week ahead, okay? But as we get towards Friday, we'll have to watch another low down to our south and west that's going to go somewhere. It may go through Kentucky. It may go through the Carolinas. We just don't know. The trend yesterday was to have this low take the Georgia-Carolina track. And if it did that, that would really limit our rain chances here in Wave Country. But the trend today has been to bring that low back a little further north, maybe going across Kentucky and Tennessee and the Virginias. And that would bump up our rain chances for Friday. Maybe a few storms again. I don't see much of a severe weather threat yet. We'll watch it. But I don't see much at this point for Friday. But we'll keep the showers and storms around. Because of the low going back and forth among models, we've been going back and forth on how high the rain chance will be, between 40 and 60%. If this holds where the low goes further north and east, closer to us, we're going to have to bump up that rain chance again for Friday. So that's the second wave we'll be watching. And you notice it moves out fairly quickly. So I expect most of the upcoming weekend to be dry. But we'll see. For the PGA, next week, we mentioned Tuesday and Friday are the days of concern when it comes to in packs to play at Valhalla. Monday through Wednesday are the practice rounds. Monday, they should get some practice in early in the day. Wednesday, they should get some practice in later in the day. It's Tuesday that might be a wash when it comes to those practice rounds. Keep that in mind if you are going to check out the practice rounds early next week. The first round of the championship is on Thursday. That should be fine. We may have some delays in play on Friday for the second round. And again, we just got to keep watching that low, see where it wants to go. Further north, higher rain chance. Further south, lower rain chance. And as we get closer and closer, we'll have a better idea of where that low will go and how that affects the rain chances for Friday. So again, Tuesday, Friday look like the worst days when it comes to rain chances. And that, of course, would impact the second round of play on Friday. But the weekend looks decent. So just a couple waves of rain and a few storms to watch. There are no alert days at this point. As you see on the 10-day, there's really not much of a severe weather threat right now. Definitely not on Tuesday. We'll watch Friday. I'm not overly concerned about it, but you never know. Things can still change, obviously. As far as the temperatures are concerned, pretty seasonable. Our average here in Louisville is 77 this time of year. And we'll be in that ballpark as we get through the next 10 days. 80 tomorrow. And we'll get close to 80 on Monday before the rain moves in. Rain-cooled air keeps us in the mid-70s Tuesday and Wednesday. Then from Thursday onward, we'll hover around 80, 78 to 82, somewhere in that ballpark for the second half of the 10-day. So no severe weather currently in the cards at this point. And hopefully that trend will continue. So I know you guys are excited about the Aurora stuff. Probably don't want to worry about the forecast too terribly much. Let's see here. Brandon, storms with low severe, sign me up. Yeah, sign everybody up, right? Let's see. Pat says, thank you for the update. Happy Mother's Day weekend. Yes, all the mamas out there. Hope you enjoy your day tomorrow. Tomorrow is your day. All right. Let's see here. Got a spammer. All right. Everybody good? Lots to talk about over the next couple of days. And it's quiet weather. Go figure. If you have any photos tonight, I know I keep saying it, send them on the Wave Weather app. Wave Weather app. Go scroll down, submit photos. You'll be good to go. Make sure you tell us where you got the photos from, by the way. That helps us to see how the Aurora is playing out and what kind of views we did see across wave country. So do that tonight. Enjoy the sunshine tomorrow. Before we go, I'll put up the Aurora graphic one last time. Main window tonight is 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. So starting here in about an hour and going through about 1 o'clock in the morning. Mainly along and north of the Ohio will have the best chance tonight. But if you're in central Kentucky, down towards E-Town, Litchfield, Bardstown, you might be able to see some on the horizon, but the better chances will be a little bit further to your north tonight. Remember, get away from city lights. You want it to be totally dark around you. Long exposure cameras, good idea. Night mode, good idea. And obviously look north, right? And enjoy it. So this is it, guys. This is the last bit of this that we could see for who knows how long. Could be another 20 years. Could be 40, 50 years. We just don't know. So take advantage of it tonight if you can. Send the photos, share the photos everywhere. And it's nice to be that we can all unite and be excited about something, right? There's too much nonsense in the world. We got to enjoy something once in a while, right? So that is where we stand at this point, my friends. I will sign off. You can catch me on Wave News at 11 talk about next week's rain chances, and maybe see a few of those Aurora photos if we're so lucky enough to experience the spectacle once again later on tonight. I'll see you on the TV side of things here in a couple of hours. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you again soon. Have a good night, everybody.